Hi all, John from Trustworthy Home Advice today from down at the shore. Today we're going to show you how to replace a three-way switch and how it works.
Okay, let's look at what a three-way switch actually is. The switch shown here is a common single switch for controlling one circuit and one item. The basic single pole, single throw switch or two-way switch. The term pole refers to the number of circuits the switch can control, and the term throw refers to the number of positions or items, such as a light that the switch can turn on or off. Its name two-way switch comes from the fact that it has two terminals, an input and an output, and a green ground terminal as well. A three-way switch gets its name from the fact that it has three terminals. The most common use for this type of switch is when you want to turn a light on or off from two different locations, such as at the top and bottom of a staircase. It's also called a double pole single throw switch, as it can control two circuits in one item, such as a light. Two of the terminals are called travelers. These will always be the same color, normally a lighter color made from bronze or copper. It's important you clearly identify the travelers because they may not be located across from each other as shown here. Different style switches may have them on the same side or even positioned diagonally from each other. Then there's a common terminal, normally a darker color, typically black. It's relatively easy to identify as it will be a distinctly different color than the travelers. Finally, there's a ground terminal. It's usually green and easy to identify as it's not part of the body of the switch. Now that we understand how a three-way switch is constructed, let's look at how they actually work. When we have one position or one light to control, but we want to control that light from two locations, we obviously need two switches. Remember, a pole is described as the number of circuits a switch can control. We're using two double pole switches in this example, each of which can control two circuits. The poles are physically connected with two wires called travelers to the traveler terminals. And remember, the term throw represents the number of positions the switch can control. And in this example, we're still only controlling one position, the light, so they are both single throw switches. So, if switch 1 is in the down position and switch 2 is in the up position, you can see the circuit is open and the light is off. If we flip switch 1 up, it completes the circuit by connecting the black terminals and the light turns on. If we flip switch 2 to the down position, it breaks the circuit again and the light turns off. If both switches are in the down position, the red circuit is completed and the light turns on. I think you get the idea. Flipping either switch will turn the light on or off from either location. This is basically how a three-way switch works. Simple line diagrams are easy to understand, but if you're going to either install or change one, it's good to understand how they're actually wired. Let's take a look at the example of a light at the top of the stairs that is controlled by a switch at the top and the bottom. Lighting circuits are typically 15 amp circuits. For a 15 amp circuit, electricians will use a 14 gauge wire, normally. In this case, a 14-3, which has 3 conductors in it, is run from box 1 to box 2. 2 of these conductors will connect the lighter color brass or copper terminals and act as travelers. The third wire, normally the black wire, is connected to the common terminal on the switch. Then we connect the bare or copper ground wire to the green terminal. Next, a 14-2 wire, which has 2 conductor wires in it, is run from box 1 to the light fixture. The black wire is connected to the common terminal on switch 1, and the other end of that black wire is connected to one of the 2 terminals on the light fixture. It doesn't matter which one. Finally, a 14-2 wire is run from the electrical panel to box 1. We connect the white or neutral wires together in box 1, and the other end of that white wire gets connected to the other terminal on the light fixture. Then we connect the black or hot wire in box 1 to the black wire from the 14-3 wire we ran from box 1 to box 2. Connect all the grounds together in box 1 and we're done. So now let's go look at changing out an actual three-way switch.
You'll know it's a three-way switch because there'll be 2 switches which control one light source. In this case, we have a switch here at this entrance which controls the lights off and on. And then we also have a switch here which controls the same lights. That's a three-way switch.
Okay, Casey and I are going to head out to the electrical panel and make sure that the circuit breaker is off to that circuit. Then we're going to head inside, we're going to take the plate off. Before we do that, we're going to make sure we flip the switch off and on to just make sure that the lights do not come on. We'll check both switches to make sure that the power is actually off. Okay, we're going to replace this switch here because as you can see, it's kind of worn. We just painted this area. It looks really nice. This is an old switch and it's time to replace it. Let's take the top and bottom screws out and gently pull the switch out of the box. Now that we have the switch out of the box, let's clearly identify the terminals. So on the old switch here, you can see that these two identical colored terminals, they are the traveler terminals. The other color terminal is the common. See the common terminal on the new switch. So let's make sure that we take the two traveler terminals and put them on the new traveler terminals on the new switch, which are diagonal to each other in this case. This switch has the wires pushed into the back of the switch, and I didn't have a small enough screwdriver on hand to release them. So I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut the common first and leave the two travelers attached so I don't confuse them. Then I'm going to strip the common wire, still leaving the two travelers attached. Then we'll bring the new switch in and we'll attach the common. This switch is a little bit different. It doesn't have a terminal where you wrap the wire around it or push it into a hole. You push the stripped piece of the wire behind a plate and then tighten the terminal screw to secure the wire. Now that we have the common wire attached to the new switch, we can go ahead and cut the two traveler wires and then cut the ground wire, which is the unshielded copper wire. Go ahead and strip the two traveler wires, getting them ready to attach to the new switch. Once they're completely stripped, we can go ahead and attach them to the new traveler terminals, which are diagonal to each other on the new switch. Lastly, we attach the ground wire. I don't have a video clip of me actually bending the wire, but you bend the wire at the end, wrap it around the terminal, and then tighten it down. Once that's done, the switch is completely wired. Let's repeat the process completely for the second switch. Let's screw the switch back into the box, put the plate back on, go turn the power back on, check to make sure everything works. And that's how a three-way switch is wired. If you enjoyed the video, drop us a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next video.